She's fun, communicates with ease, and the star of her own weekend show on KFI. This hour's moderator, Laura Kane.
I was real curious what they were going to come up with for me. Notice they kept the adjectives to very minimum.
Very nice. You can't get hurt, you know.
Yeah.
You did okay.
No, she's
Okay.
reasonably healthy, free of disease. Laura Kane.
Still breathing, Laura Kane. A great pulse, a steady pulse. Can I make an appeal for a second? Can I make an appeal, Laura? Rush Limbaugh, if you are listening to KFI right now, the most listened to talk host in America, if you have my keys, he's dead. If you have my car keys, let me tell you something. I will forgive you if you come back to the studio right now and give me the car keys, okay? It's like a little black leather kind of thing on the end of the car keys. They probably look a lot like the keys of your Jaguar that somebody let you ride around in L.A. this week. Please give me my keys. Thank you.
Because Joe is going to have to climb onto the balcony of his apartment. We shouldn't tell people this, and they'll know how to break into your apartment.
No, don't say that, Laura. Tom was going to give me a ride home. Is Tom still here? Did he leave?
I don't know.
That's sleazebag.
He may have left.
That's very nice.
Joe, I'll give you a ride home.
You may be thumbing a ride, babe.
Tom,
Yeah.
you sleazebag, if you're listening, don't leave. He's in the parking lot with the radio on. Come back.
Well, I'm Laura Kane. I am normally around here on Saturdays from 4 until 8 in the afternoon, and whenever they need me during the week, which thank God has been a lot lately, and do pretty much what Joe and Tom and everybody else does. And what the heck are we going to do? Well,
we have a story to finish up here,
Joe.
don't we?
That's exactly what we're going to start this
get in here, man. We got to finish off this story. Come on, Tom.
This is interesting. Why did you say you're going to nail me?
No, because I want to make sure that you do it, because you've evaded this.
I've been evaded
for hours.
You're better than Walter Payton, man.
It is true, darling. The moves on you, we are truly impressed.
Laura, I'll tell you what his position basically is that, yes, he had a homosexual experience, that's Joe Crummey, and is, number one, absolutely astounded, amazed that the rest of us didn't, and
I'll bet you $50 somebody else in this room probably has too, but you're too chicken to admit it.
I got $50 on me.
Oh, yeah, well, I got
$50 too.
Listen, aren't you a brave soul? But I mean, who's going to know?
So we're very proud of you, Joe, for admitting
Well, anyway, okay, well, let me tell you who is here. Dr. Laura Schlesinger is here, Bill Handel, Joe McDonnell, Norm LaFay, and Joe Crummey. Joe Crummey, take off. Let's do this story. So
Laura, I haven't asked you.
Give you this job?
Have you had a homosexual? Oh, I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
Yeah, so this guy was going to give me this job, and he was really, he wanted to. He never did. I did get the job a few years later, by the way. But so this guy, it was a snowy, cold New England evening way back in 1946, and I was just a young man. It was romantic, and we were at the radio station that was in this old Victorian house in Natick, Massachusetts. It was in this house. It was a 1,000-watt daytime radio station. The guy was really cool. Had been after me for years. I was not interested, and I remember thinking, gee, I could really use a job, bad. And I remember thinking, well, what I'll do is I'll go back with this guy and I'll string him along, because that'll give me audience with him, and I'll prove to him what a great guy I am, and then he'll hire me. And I always thought, oh God, what's going to happen? I'm going to have to fight him off, like this. And so I remember knowing that when we left the radio station, we only took one car. And I went, oh, God, because I'll be trapped at his house. So, oh, Jesus. So we went back. We took his car on a snowy New England. I already told you that it was snowing. Okay. So we go back to this guy's house. And, he was pushing me all night long to do something. Nothing heavy really went down. But we did sleep together, and he did touch me. But that was it, I swear to God. And I remember leaving the next morning thinking to myself.
Well, that's not a homosexual experience.
Oh, yes, it was. I'm not giving you the details, but he did touch me.
Touched
and,
you.
and I was not into it, but I said, gee, and I didn't get the job, but a few years later he did hire me, and he never said a word about it.
You know what? That brings it to a really good...
Never said a word about it.
Terrible boss situation. I worked at a place where I was dating one of the other co-workers there, okay? And it was kept very quiet. I mean, you made no big deal of it there. It was strictly away from this situation at work, because first of all, I was breaking my own rule, because I had this rule: you never date anybody you work with because of the way this business is, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and so I was breaking my own rule, but we're keeping it real quiet. Well, what I didn't count on was that the boss had been after this guy forever. The boss was male. Had been,
in a homosexual kind of way.
Yes. And they had worked in another, station together, and he, had always managed to keep this guy away from him. But boy, he managed to find out somehow that the two of us were dating. And I mean, this man made my life hell every day that I worked at. Oh, yes, because, well, I was getting what he wasn't. Yes. And he was...
were you?
Well, of course, just never mind. Anyway, and I finally ended up quitting the situation because there was so much harassment going on.
And did they end up
absolutely?
And Laura, did they end up living happily ever after?
No, they did not. They did not. I mean, he and I had managed to, keep through it, even though I left the job. But I mean, it just, what a mess! What an absolute mess that was.
In a way, that's sort of like the sexual harassment. I wonder if we all have stories on that. That's pretty
I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, he never said a word to me because he didn't hire me then. But a couple of years later, I'd worked someplace else, and then they did hire me. Never said a word.
Was that your very first radio job?
No, I worked around, but I was trying to get a job close to the big city. You know what it's like when you're making, $90 a week. And I remember I made so little money my first job. I was just able to afford the car. I had a 1970 Maverick, and I was able to afford the payments, but I couldn't afford gasoline.
Oh, jeez.
The car would sit in the parking lot, and I'd look at it. And
Can everybody do a real short thing about how you got in the business?
Okay,
if you haven't done that so far?
As long as I'm talking, I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead.
I left my house. I was a teenager. I was 18, and I left the house. I wanted a job. My parents freaked because I wanted to be a disc jockey. They freaked out because they'd sent me to an expensive prep school, all this stuff. Freaked when I said I wanted to be a DJ. They thought I was crazy. They were right. And I took the car. We had two cars. I took the VW one time. My dad was shaving, and I knew I could get away with it because when the sound of the water in the sink, he wouldn't hear the car start outside. And I remember opening up the garage door and taking the VW and drove it off to New Hampshire. I'm originally from Albany. I had $60 because I just had my birthday. I took $60. I was 18. I left. I drove up to New Hampshire where I'd gone to prep school. And I slept in the basement of one of the dormitories of the prep school. I broke in, and I slept in the basement. I got wind of the fact that they were going to come and kick me out that night, and I slept underneath the console and closed myself in, and sure enough, they came with the lights that night to get me, but couldn't find me. Finally got a job on the top 40 station in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, as the $60 is running out. I would sleep in the basement of the radio station on a desk with a sleeping bag. The morning man would come down in the morning and wake me up before the general manager would come in so they wouldn't think I was sleeping there. And that was how I got started.
Norm?
I don't know if I can beat that one, but that's sad, Joe. Well, actually, about 5 years ago, I used to do a lot of repairs for a FM station and vehicle repairs. And as I was working with their vehicles, we built up a lot of trade dollars. And they opened a talk show on one of their AM stations, and they asked if I could fill in and do an automotive talk show. And basically, that's what it was. But promise was that they would have a tremendous amount of listening audience, and we would have this great caller bank of people lined up to, ask these questions. And as it was, as we've talked, we went through an hour and a half of no calls except for this one. Hello, Norm! They give you this kind of a thing. What can I do for you, And 15 minutes of dialogue about how they get up in the morning and made coffee, then went out to their car and it wouldn't start. But that's how it really started about 4.5 years ago.
Well, we'll come back and do everybody else here when we come back from the break. We're talking with Joe Crummey, Norm LaFay, also Joe McDonnell, Bill Handel, and Dr. Laura Schlesinger. Come on, babe. I'm going to be calling you at midnight going, are you making it, honey? Are you with us?
3 hours and 45 minutes. That's all you've got left, Laura.
I'm Laura Kane on KFI. Ken Gallagher's at the traffic center. What's happening on the streets, Ken?
Tonight.
What?
Ken, are we keeping you up?
No, I was just sort of swallowing some of the lasagna.
Well, if that's all it is,
we can forgive that because there's some darn good food in here. Yes, indeed.
It's free food. Those two words go together so nicely. San Diego Freeway northbound, south of Century, LA Airport area. We've got a crash there, clearing off the center divider still. Southbound Hollywood Freeway south.
Mumble, 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 mumble. It never stops here. You would think, okay, they've been talking for hours and hours and hours and hours, that between the commercials, everybody would just kind of be going, we don't want to talk. No.
I'm just getting good. I get good.
When we mean 10 straight hours of talking, we mean 10 straight hours of talking. We got to be recording what's going on during the commercial breaks, too.
Yeah, really.
Okay, I'm Laura Kane. It's 9:20 here on AM 640 KFI. We're having the meeting of the mouths and the minds and whatever else we can manage to get together.
Interesting, they call it the meeting of the mouths and not the meeting of the minds.
That should tell us
much
something.
more apropos, as it were.
Tell us something. Yeah.
Joe Crummey, Norm LaFay, Joe McDonnell, Bill Handel, and Dr. Laura Schlesinger are all here. And Joe McDonnell, you were going to tell us how you got started in this business.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'd always wanted to be a sports writer, and I wanted to work for the LA Times and write sports and cover the Dodgers and all that.
But you can't read. I'm sorry.
Bill.
That's terrible.
Charming Bill Handel.
Yeah, but I'll bet I'm a better lawyer than you.
Anyway,
to all of you.
What's the difference between a dead lawyer and the dead snake?
All right, I've heard it a million times.
Nothing.
There's skid marks in front of the snake.
Yeah.
Go, Joe.
Thank you. It's also why will lawyers defend sharks for free? Professional courtesy, yeah. But anyway, it was between my freshman and sophomore year in college, and I was taking classes geared toward print journalism, and I still write a lot anyway on the side. But I met a friend of mine. We went to our old high school, went to one of our football games, and we were kind of drinking, and we ended up at a Bob's restaurant, and he says, hey, I'm working over at this station in the Valley getting 3 credits for being an intern. I said, wow. 3 credits? That's one class I don't have to take.
Wow.
And I said, I really didn't have any interest in radio. I really wasn't caught up in it. So I went over there, interviewed with the news director named Bill Smith, who was later famous for a couple of things, including Wink and Bill on another station here. Great guy, Bill Smith. And we talked, interviewed, and he said, I only have one shift available. That's from 5 to 10 in the morning.
Oh, tough life.
He said, do you want to do it? I said, yeah, it's worth it. That's one less class I have to take. I walked in the day they caught Patty Hearst was my first day in radio over 15 years ago. I walked into the newsroom at KGIL, small station out in the Valley, and was just mesmerized by what was going on. And it's just, I knew as soon as I walked in that, it just hit me. It was immediately in my blood that this is what I was going to do. And I loved every minute of it since.
I've already given my story last hour.
Oh, that's right.
So
and it was boring.
And it was boring as hell.
Just like you, it was boring.
Yes.
It was a great story.
It is a great story, but I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah, because lunatics get put on the radio. That's what it is.
Laura?
I was discovered, I made a call to another talk station and to the Bill Balance Show. He was the first one really to open the phones and just talk to women about personal things, and I called in. I was so astounded with the phenomenon. And just in the conversation, to this day I don't know exactly what happened, but they asked to put me on hold to take down my phone number, my address, so he could mail me a picture of himself. And who cared, right? I'm not into this. So I'm holding on to the phone going, I really should hang up, but I'm one of these people, I can't be rude, So they get on and they say, Bill Balance wants to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. They call me in, and a month later he put me on with him as the human sexuality expert. During the phone call, my experience and all of that had come out, so I literally got hauled onto radio accidentally.
How about you, Laura?
Mine was similar to yours, Joe, in that what happened is I started out I started out as an actress, and when I was really, I got into theater and to doing a lot of theater work when I was about 9-10 years old, and so I was working with all these adults who were considerably older than I was, and they were all saying, don't go to college unless unless you've got some experience in whatever field you want to major in, because you're going to waste all this money and all this time, which is what all of them had done. They all ended up doing totally different things than what they had majored in. So I was like, yeah, right. But fortunately, I listened to them, and I thought, okay, well, I originally was going to be a social worker. I was going to get an MSW.
No kidding.
Yes, I was going to get an MSW. And so I was one of the very first high school counselor they ever had for Planned Parenthood. I worked for the Rape Crisis Center. I worked for a bunch of stuff like that and went, I'll never be able to handle this because I couldn't come up. I just am not objective enough, obviously, as you can tell by the show. And so then I started looking for something else, and I decided I want to be a writer and, be a journalist. And what happened is, when I got into junior college, right after high school, I was 17. When you're 17, you think you can do anything. I said, well, I'll just get a job, because I'd worked to put myself through college anyway. And so I ended up getting a job at a radio station and just fell in love and haven't left yet.
What's interesting is out of everybody here, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, the only one who didn't fall into it accidentally was Joe Crummey.
Yeah, I was into it.
Right.
When I was a little kid, my mom would leave me in the car when she would do errands, and our car, I was able to turn the radio on without the key. Some cars you could do, some cars you couldn't.
Hooked up to the battery.
Yeah, and I would turn the radio on. I was like, wow, who's this guy on the radio? And I'd see all the cars driving by, realizing that the guy on the radio was being able to have the ability to be heard by all these people. So I was into this from square one.
Well, but for us women, we had no role models. There were no female disc jockeys in Florida, in the entire state,
or any place at all.
There were some. There was, Dusty Rhodes in San Francisco, there was Sally Jesse Raphael and all the 15,000 places that she's worked. But we didn't have these 50,000 watt stations that we could pull in from New York to be able to hear that. And
when I started, there were no women.
You know, and also, I mean, my voice was a real detriment to me because it was made fun of all my life because I've sounded like this since I was 8 years old, and everybody was like, you know, you got this weird voice.
You know, for and it wasn't. That is a little bit sultry.
It is a little weird. And when I got into radio, everybody's like, wow, you got this great voice. I said, what voice? You know, I'm a writer, for God's sakes. I'm here to write commercials. And they were like, no,
I was a radio junkie. I listened to the radio all the time. I listened constantly.
But never thought about
I never had any desire because I've never had a great voice, as we can all tell by listening.
Oh, no, I like your voice.
I think it's pretty terrible.
Yeah. Wow. No, let me tell you, nobody I've ever heard in radio has a voice worse than you.
Actually, I think
this is Bill Handel on KFI.
I think you guys sound very similar now that you're talking about it.
Thank you very much, Joe.
I think you ought to go get some Kleenex and some Q-tips and clean your ears out.
Yeah.
Joe,
I think you ought to get some Kleenex and clean your ears out.
You know what I think
Q-tips and Kleenex.
Don't they?
You know what you have, Joe? You have there's a sports voice, but a lot of times it's really obnoxious, and yours isn't. I mean, I have worked with so many sports guys that I just want to smack them upside the head because there's just that real kind of sound to it, and you don't have that. But you've got the brightness that is sports. Let's all describe each other's voices. Right?
Yeah, no, I had never had a desire to get into radio, but the first minute I was around it, I knew that's what I want to do the rest of my life.
Oh, when
really
it's in your blood. It's in your blood.
I guess it always has been. Yeah.
Somebody wants to know. Bill in Riverside says, who influenced you most?
Oh, everybody. When in life or just in the business or what?
Well, let's ask Bill. Bill, are you talking about in life or in business or what?
Well, actually, excluding family in life and business or business.
I can tell you who it was for me. A guy who's a writer. One of the great famous syndicated columnists in the country, a man by the name of A.S. Doc Young, who is still syndicating his column all over the country in a number of black newspapers, the Chicago Daily Defender, the L.A. Sentinel, different places. And it was a man who just taught me what this business was all about from a journalistic standpoint. And we talk to this day a couple times a week, and somebody I can always turn to for advice if I need to know something, for counsel, or just to sit there and laugh with. And he's been my mentor in this business, no question about it.
Bill?
Probably the Three Stooges.
Oh,
it sounds like it.
No, you beat me to it. I was sitting back in my chair. I couldn't get up to the mic fast enough.
No, come on, who?
Kermit the Frog.
He's going to say himself, so let's just pass him.
No. It's, I don't think anybody in particular. I've always been a freak for biographies, so I've always enjoyed...
No, me too.
And if you read enough biographies, there are so many fascinating, huge people in this world that live lives that are so extraordinary. Winston Churchill comes to mind, extraordinary character.
Yeah, when I listen to you, I think of Winston Churchill. I really get that vibe.
The same hairline.
I get the vibe from you, Bill. Winston Churchill. Yeah, that's what
All right, so Joe, the person that influenced you most is Charles Manson, right?
So there. It was funny a minute ago.
I know. It didn't work, did it? That's right. Don Knotts. I lost it there.
No, who was it?
In the business, lots of people. There's probably nobody I've ever worked with that I haven't taken something that I like from. When I was a kid in Albany, New York, there used to be a disc jockey called Boom Boom Brannigan. He was probably awful, but when I was a kid, I couldn't believe the amount of energy that he projected on the air on 1540 WPTR, and he was funny without trying to be funny, and he had this cool voice that had so much energy in it, and I really liked him, and that's just one of the billions of people I listened to, but he was really good, and I'm sure now he's like nobody, no place. He was living in his car last time I heard, but he was something. He was really something.
Well, when we come back, we'll find out with Norm LaFay and Laura Schlesinger, and I guess me, Laura Kane, and we're also talking with Bill Handel, Joe McDonnell, and Joe Crummey here on the Meeting of the Mouths, and Ken Gallagher is in the KFI News Center with the latest headlines.
All right, some of the stories we're working on for the 10 o'clock news. Los Angeles...
640 KFI. I'm Laura Kane hosting the Meeting of the Mouths this hour. And boy, I'm just looking through some of these faxes we got sent. I mean, people got nuts today. Yo. Well, we've been talking about who it was that influenced you the most. But before we get to that, let's take a call from Joanna Costa Mesa. Hi, you're on KFI.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hi. I was just wondering if Joe McDonnell, is he married?
Oh, Joe.
No, Joe's not married. Joe's married to his job.
And Joe is available.
I'm just asking because you said you're 32?
34.
34. Oh, okay, because you sound a little older than I thought.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Now, are you looking?
Maturity.
Am I looking?
Yeah. This is Bill Handel.
Am I looking?
That's my agent.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, we're all Yentas here, man. We're all trying to say
I think we can match-make together here.
Oh, sure.
How old are you?
32.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And are you, do you work?
Yes.
Ooh.
What do you do?
Right for you, right there.
I'm in accounting.
Uh-huh. You know what? Why don't you leave your number with the screener, and we'll get involved here, all right?
Yeah, Joe, because, I mean, you know, we like to find you a nice date.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Joe...
He does great by himself.
I don't know very much about sports, but when I listen to Joe, I
Oh.
See,
Well, same.
no,
I'm embarrassed.
No, but see, she'd be the right kind of woman for you because then whatever you said, she'd be like, oh, okay, because then you'd be educating, you know? And I mean, I think you like that kind of position.
Why? You think I'm a dominating type of person? Thank you, Laura, very much.
I think you're a born teacher.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
I bet he's better looking than Joe Crummey.
Well, most are, I have to tell you.
Hi, Joe.
It's a close call.
Hi.
Okay.
All right,
Well, hold on.
Hold on.
Okay,
yeah, we'll
hold
leave your
on.
name and number.
Oh, man.
Yeah, leave your name and number. Gray's going to be taking that for Joe.
Maybe it'll be better than the last one.
That was a question that got asked earlier today was, would you or have you ever dated a caller? Have you ever done that, Joe?
Do I have to answer this?
Sure.
Yes.
Was it a positive or negative experience?
Crazy.
Did you only do it once?
Yes.
What happened?
I can't tell. It was a little ridiculous. But, no, I mean, it was just very bizarre.
Okay, well, Norm...
But you never know. The second time might be a charm.
That's true. Norm, who influenced you the most?
Actually, many years ago when I was a younger tyke, we had a lot of racing in this area. Orange County Raceway, Lyons Raceway, and of course they all closed them down. And many of the race car drivers in those days, I was fascinated with the speed that these cars could obtain. Years ago, a dragster, for instance, or a funny car could turn a quarter mile in about 7 or 8 seconds. Now they're doing it just slightly under 5 seconds, like 4.9. We had a record at Pomona just a couple weeks ago. And so many of the race car drivers influenced me in a way that they could handle the car in such a dramatic way, keep control of the vehicle, and also make the horsepower. We're putting out 4,000 and 5,000 horsepower now in a lot of these vehicles. So that was the start of it. And Zora Arcus Duntop, who was an engineer for the Corvette many years ago.
What's that name again?
You like that? Zora Arcus Duntop. He's passed away, and of course, John DeLorean worked under him before DeLorean started his demise of his DMC car.
His little extracurricular activities.
Yes, the car that travels down the freeway and picks up and sucks up the white lines on the highway. Yes, that's the car. Basically, they had a lot of innovative feats, and they had a lot of neat designs, so that's really helped me in putting together my business, and of course, helps me a lot with the radio programs. That's how it started.
Laura Schlesinger.
Norm.
Yes.
May I impose upon you professionally?
Yes.
Don't ask car repairs on the air. You could do that after the show.
What do you think of the Isuzu Rodeo?
There, see, she's asking already.
I'm telling
And you own one?
Why is it that are you into that kind of a vehicle? Is that what you're looking for?
That kind of a vehicle I need.
I would stay away from that brand, okay?
Okay.
We'll tell you about it later.
Okay.
We might have an Isuzu spot coming up.
Isuzu across the board?
No, just that particular unit. I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Laura. Influence.
You mean in terms of radio?
General. You can get me beyond radio.
Me.
Do both.
Well, for radio, it would have to be Bill Balance because he believed in me long enough and hard enough that I finally started believing in myself, and so that's something you keep with you for a lifetime.
Yeah, I have to say something too. As far as hello, are we here? Yeah. As far as radio goes, I talked about my overall influence, but Chris Roberts too, who works here at KFI and on Coast, gave me the opportunity to work here with him back in 1988, and I'd say he's had a big influence because when I first came here, I wasn't the greatest broadcaster. I had done a lot of network reporting, but for the most part, network reporting is 30, 45 seconds, a minute at the most. And carrying on a conversation. And Chris used to sit in that studio right to our right there and work with me for hours on how to do stuff. So he was a big, big influence on me also.
Mine was a teacher I had in high school. Her name was Mrs. Rapolsky. And believe it or not...
she was gorgeous.
Pee Wee Herman and I had the same humanities and creative writing teacher. And she was, from what I understand, he has said that she was a big influence to him, too. So although I don't think I turned out quite as crazy as he did.
You know, I had an 8th grade English teacher, Mr. Matheson, who was that, or 11th grade, excuse me, high school, tremendous teacher, an unbelievable influence. It just occurred to me, he's dead now, so he can't hear it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, teachers are amazing, because I had struggled so much through school. I had such behavioral problems, and here was a woman who just didn't take any garbage off me at all, but who said, hey, you got brains, you got talent, you can do something with it, get a grip.
And we haven't finished Laura's yet.
Yes, we did.
Oh, did we? I thought you had someone else coming in your life other than Bill Balance.
That's it.
That was it?
That's it. Well, you know, I'll tell you what, the other thing I wanted to tell our callers, I mean, this is pretty much the end of it. Can you believe that? I mean, this went by really quick, because I know Laura's been doing the whole thing all day, and most of us have been listening all day, so we only got like the last 20 minutes or so.
You are a trooper, Laura Schlesinger.
Oh, thank you. I'm telling you. We're going to be like feeding her coffee every 15 minutes during her show. So I want to ask callers, if there's any personal questions in particular that you want to ask anybody that you don't get that opportunity to on their show. Some of us don't set ourselves up like other talk show hosts and say, if you hate me, then you can come on and call me. I'm only taking I hate you calls. You will never have that show on my show. I'm sorry, I could never take it.
Let's not have that one now either.
I usually get it when I do general talk. So.
Only call if you love us, all right?
No, we definitely don't want that.
Personal questions.
But personal questions.
And we all promise to be honest.
Absolutely.
Or take the absolute, yeah.
This is like truth or dare in our 30s and 40s.
Ooh, and 20s.
And 20s. I'm sorry. Laura, my apologies to you. I just figure everybody's old like me.
All right, well, we were talking with Norm LaFay, Joe McDonnell, Bill Handel, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, and I'm Laura Kane on the Meeting of the Mouths as we wind down here. I think we should call the boss and say, no, let's just do this all the way through Laura's show. I mean, why make her do a show by herself? We'll all hold hands and do it together.
Let me give you a little bit of experience here. We tried that last year with the host, Mother Love, who was here, and by midnight to 1 o'clock, it was ugly. It was delirious. It was
scary stuff.
It was bad. Yeah, in fact, I think when they reran the Meeting of the Mouth last Christmas, they cut that entire last hour out because it was myself, Phil Hendry, Mother Love, another guy, and it got a little crazy. Believe me. So let Laura do what she does best alone.
1-800-553-4640 and 5201-KFI. I'm Laura Kane on AM 640. AM 640 KFI. We've gone car crazy in here. Now, let's get back onto the subject. Meeting of the Mouths. And with us are Norm LaFay, Joe McDonnell, Bill Handel, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, and I'm Laura Kane. And let's see, Ken's first-time caller from Marina Del Rey. Hi, you're on KFI.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay.
I was just curious if I'm sure that Dr. Laura hasn't had enough time to acknowledge that I was instrumental in furthering her career. Dr. Laura, do you remember the portrait I did for you when you were at that other radio station that ends with C that ran in Los Angeles Magazine?
You did that?
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Well, I must say, I don't know what the other people in the room look like, but I've got to say from the photograph that radio station gave me from the promotions department, remember Norm Epstein?
Yes, of course.
You are one beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you.
And she is.
Thank you.
It wasn't difficult at all to make you look as good as you look.
Well, what a sweetie. Well, thank you. I'd like you to stay on hold so they can get your number.
Okay.
Hang on just a second. You know what? Speaking of, there's a couple of us here that haven't been described. So,
oh God!
We gotta, come on. Everybody wants to know what we look like.
There you go.
No, you can't describe.
I'm gonna put the pressure on you. You can describe me.
Okay. Joe, he's got dark hair, it's real straight. He wears an earring, which I think is very cute. He's got great blue eyes. He's got a real good smile. He's kind of about, you're taller than I am. What are you, about 5'10"? Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so about 6'1", kind of heavy set.
Kinda.
And just all around cute guy.
Thank you.
Growing a little bit of a beard. Are we going to continue with this?
Well, I was sick for about a week and a half, and I didn't want to shave, so I figured, what the hell?
Saves money in the long run, doesn't it?
What, that saves pain. When you have very little tender skin like mine, it's I hate shaving.
We kind of go through that too, Laura, right? You know, I let the legs go. It's like, sorry, when you're sick, don't want to deal with it.
I know, and then you're in a rush and you're going to wear a skirt, and you look down and you go,
No, I will shave it short as soon as it gets uglier.
So, Laura, do you want to describe either Bill or Norm, or maybe you need to do both of them?
I'll do Norm, since I'm staring right into his. I can't see this far to know what color they are. Norm has this kind of warm smile, and that's the first thing you notice about Norm. First thing I ever saw about you was your warm smile, and it's surrounded by a mustache and beard, which is salt and pepper.
Yes.
It's salt and... Well, take your headphones off. I got to get the whole picture. And he's got 2 ears, and he's got dark...
Thank you.
What, do you think he was Vincent Van Gogh?
Yes. She's going to do a portrait after this show, I can tell.
Actually, that's with both ears, that's not far off.
Vincent Van Gogh?
Yes, a darker Vincent. Oh, he was a nice-looking man.
Get that knife out and slice your
I wasn't talking about sanity.
Oh, thank you. Well, you never can tell from your point of view, you know.
Okay. Can I describe Dr. Laura?
Okay.
Dr. Laura is, I can tell you this right now, picture Sandy Duncan. A much better looking version of Sandy Duncan. I swear to God, I keep telling Lou Stowers around here that one day I'm going to look up on the TV and Dr. Laura's going to be doing a Wheat Thins commercial. There's no question about that.
Tap dancing.
And I'm telling you, it's absolutely accurate.
She's got those Sally Jesse Raphael red glasses.
Oh, God.
The same design.
No, Sally's got mine.
Oh, that's okay. Right. Excuse me. Yeah. Sally stole those from her. Yeah. Okay, Bill, do you want to do me?
Sure. Red hair.
I love red hair.
Great legs.
Thank you.
We know
Great
that.
legs.
Figure to die for. I mean, just a knockout figure. Very attractive face. Great teeth. What else would I say? Good. The voice is dynamite.
Great legs and great voice.
She's got the straightest teeth I've ever seen.
Yeah, terrific teeth.
Did you have orthodontics, or did God do that?
No. See, it's in the family. We have straight upper teeth. Yeah. The bottom ones are real crooked. I'm just like Sally Long. She and I have the same teeth. I was like,
all around, good-looking lady. I mean,
thank you.
The phrase.
I am going to snitch on her because you didn't tell me in confidence. You did not tell me in confidence, therefore
No, don't tell me. Okay, that it was supposed to have been told in confidence. What? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. What?
Would you believe that this young lady spent most of her life thinking she was not attractive?
Oh, come on.
No, I've done a lot to fix myself up, believe me.
When she told me that, I almost fell over.
Yeah, there are people that...
No, it's because I wasn't. Believe me, I can bring in pictures.
What is this, surgery? Come on.
Can I describe Bill Handel?
No.
Yes.
You ever seen...
let's hear it.
You ever seen Mr. Magoo?
No, that's not true. Bill is cute. Bill is cute.
No, I'm sorry. You ever see Telly Savalas?
There are three good-looking guys in here. There really are. They really are.
I got
He's
your
in
back.
pain.
You did.
Actually,
Bill,
you look a little bit like Telly Savalas, but you're better looking.
You see his eyes open
know
up
Bill looks like?
Have more hair.
No, but I think Telly Savalas is very attractive. Okay, I really do.
With or without the lollipop.
You look kind of like an offensive lineman who would have played football.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
I'll tell you exactly who you look like athletic-wise. Ray Nitschke. Exactly, the old Green Bay Packers middle linebacker. You are a dead ringer.
Yeah, I'm very broad.
Yeah, he's got big shoulders. Built like a lineman.
I'm big, and I have a fairly good-sized stomach.
Then you're definitely built like a lineman.
And I have very little hair, and I've been described
Bill's got indescribably straight teeth, too.
I do have good teeth.
Smile.
Yeah.
Look at those. I noticed that the first time I met him.
I have been described as a 65-year-old fat Jewish bald man, and I'm 39 years old.
That is so untrue. I mean, Bill doesn't have any lines in his face. He's got good eyes.
There's a whole nest of crows around the side of his eyes. Come on.
You know, he's got a good mouth. I mean, Bill, you got good cheekbones. You got both ears.
See, there you go.
Boy, ears are really important around this place. I don't know who this ear tat is.
If anybody were actually listening to this and had just tuned in, they would say, what a bunch of self-aggrandizing, sick people in group therapy, obviously the biggest losers who ever lived, and a therapist has said, now everybody make each other feel good and tell us what you like about each other. That's what this group sounded like,
Well, but, I got to tell you, though, I just don't think there's anybody that's ugly. I mean, and I'm sorry, I have worked at some stations where there were some ugly people.
Other than Joe Crummey, but he's not here to defend himself.
No, I'm serious, man. I mean, this is my 15th or 14th radio station, and I have worked with some really ugly people, and we really have very attractive people on this staff.
No, we have a good group of people. I'm very pleased with
good heart.
People. That's
we have
right.
good heart here.
Definitely. Well, we'll be back, I guess, with the last few minutes of this with Norm, LaFay, Joe McDonnell, Bill Handel, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, and I'm Laura Kane on the Meeting of the Mouths. And just a reminder that next Monday at 6 p.m. here on KFI, the Raiders take on the Miami Dolphins. Play-by-play is brought to you by Dunlop Tires and GTE, and the Raiders pregame coverage starts at 3 p.m. Can't wait to watch that game. I'm Laura Kane on KFI. 9:56 on the AM 640 KFI. I'm Laura Kane in the waning moments of the Meeting of the Mouths. What a monumental. I wish I had been here for last year's. I have been such a great time doing this, and everybody that's getting their first time. We had a caller who wanted to know if I was married. No, I'm not. And Joe, I guess you and I are the only ones out of the five of us that isn't married, right?
I think people knew it, too. You can tell by our voices something in there. Little frustration in the voices.
Okay, so in our waning moments, everybody gets to tell their most disgusting fantasy.
Oh, no.
And I'm looking right at Laura Schlesinger.
Come on,
babe.
How about your best fantasy? I won't do disgusting.
Mine is disgusting and best.
Okay, well then we'll do. All right, then we'll do your best for you.
Okay, my best fantasy is I wish I could kick like Bruce Lee.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
He kicked the bucket.
Well, he took
You don't wanna do
steroids,
that,
and that was
yeah.
pretty dumb. But and I'll never get that good, and that's too bad. But that would be my best fantasy there.
Bill Handel.
My best fantasy is actually to live to 120 years old and just probably die by getting shot by some jealous husband would be wonderful. That would be something.
You want to get caught in the act?
Yeah. Wow. I'm getting into old age and enjoying it.
Joe McDonnell.
Sex in a tub full of warm oatmeal, getting out, taking a shower, and hearing I won the lottery for about $90 million.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
That is very kinky, Joe. I mean, there's like Freudian aspects to that.
Well, it's like Laura said,
what is
little
Freudian
sustenance
about
there.
oatmeal?
Yes.
I don't know, but I could find it if I looked. Norm.
Driving down a quarter mile and doing a radio broadcast at the same time. Now, that would be exciting.
Drag racing.
Yes, absolutely. There you go.
Boy, how would you concentrate around the curve?
And how about Laura?
There isn't
No
any
curves,
curves
it's straight
except in
racing.
the spectator stand.
Okay.
How about you, Laura Kane?
Oh, mine's just typical, running away to the island with the beach and the mountains and, all that great stuff. And somebody looks like Kevin Costner.
Oh, here we go.
Kevin's out there listening. He's got to come by.
But dark hair, not blonde. I'm just not into blondes very much. I just can't help myself. Well, gosh, can you believe it's gone? It's
over.
Gone away.
History.
You know what? Someone called up today. Someone called today and asked we should do it every 6 months.
I agree.
Because once a year is not enough. And I don't know about the listening audience, but I got to tell you, for us, this is unbelievable. This is so much fun.
Well, you know what this has made me resolve to do? I know we're running out of time, but I really want to start using you all more on my show. I mean, I've had Tom on the show before. I think I've had you, Joe, on there before.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I really want to start using people when different topics come up. Have everybody come on, even if I just call you at home and get you on the phone, because this is just. I mean, we are really marvelous together.
Well, it's a great way for everybody to get to know each other a little bit better, too.
I think so, too. Well, the guys who have been doing such a marvelous job, and that, of course, is Larry Metzler, who has been running the board.
Hey, Larry.
The best.
Oh, he's ready in there.
Oh, look at this.
I mean,
The Bill Handel School of Ego.
Yes.
Standing O.
and Greg Cockrell, who is, producer extraordinaire.
Yes, he is.
Just
Yes, he
an
is.
incredible guy.
Okay, Greg.
And I want to thank, of course, George Oliva, our wonderful program director, for letting this happen, and, of course, Howard Neal, our general manager. Hey, let's just...
There we go.
Our fearless leaders.
Listeners for hanging in there with us, because this has obviously been a big marathon, but maybe we will get to do it every
And don't
6
go to
months.
sleep yet.
No, because...
Oh, yeah, Laura.
Because
3
Dr.
more
Laura-
hours. 3 more hours.
Dr.
Don't
Laura
say it that
Schlesinger
way.
is coming up, and she will be taking your phone calls at 1-800-553-4640, 5201-KFI. So get on the phone now. Get ready for her. She's ready for you. Anyway, this is the close of the Meetings of the Mouths. I'm Laura Kane, and you have yourself a great rest of the week here on KFI.
Bye.
We are out of here.
Bye.
Well, Larry.
Spontaneously combustible articulation. KFI Los Angeles, more stimulating talk radio.